Hi, this is Database Management Chapter 5, Introduction to SQL. We're going to study several terminologies, and also we're going to study the history and lore of SQL in database development, and also we're going to study definition database with the SQL data definition language. Also, we're going to study writing single table query with SQL command. And then we're going to study referential integrity with SQL. And then we're going to study SQL 9099 and SQL 2016 standard. SQL overview. Structured query language, often pronounced SQL, the standard for relational database management system. So relational database management system is a database management system that manages data as a collection of tables in which all relationships are represented by common values in related table. History of SQL. The concept of relational database technology were first articulated in 1970 in E.F. Coor's classic paper, a relational model of data for large shared database bank. Systems R was a project at the IBM Research Laboratory in San Jose, California, that demonstrated the feasibility of implementing the relational model in a database management system. They used a language they call SQL. It's later been named SQL, but SQL is still often how it is pronounced. SQL 92 was a major revision and was structured into 3 level: entry, intermediate, and full. SQL 9090 established the core level conformance, which must be met before any other level of conformance can be achieved. Core level conformance requirements were unchanged in SQL 2011. In addition to fixes and enhancement of SQL 1999, SQL 2003 introduced a new set of SQL XML standards, 3 new data types, various new built-in functions, and improved method for generating values automatically. SQL 2006 refined these additions and made them more compatible with XQuery and XML query language published by the World Wide Web Consortium. SQL 2008 improved analytic query capability and exchanged merge for combining table. The most important new addition to SQL 2011 were related to temporal databases, that is, databases that are able to capture the change in data values over time. At the time of this writing, most database management systems claim SQL 92 compliance and partial compliance with SQL 1999 and SQL 2011. SQL 2016 added low pattern recognition. JSON support polymorphic table functions and an extended set of analytic capability. Is SQL a standard? It is no longer certified by the United State Department of Commerce, National Institute of Standard and Technology. Original purpose of SQL standard. Specify syntax, semantic for data, definition and manipulation. Define data structure and basic operation. Enable portability of database definition and application module. Specify minimum level 1 and complete level 2 standards. Allow for later growth enhancement to standards, referential integrity, transaction management, user-defined functions, extended join operation, national character set. Benefit of standardized relational language. These are all benefits of standardization. Reduced training cost, productivity, application portability, application longevity, reduced dependence on a single vendor, cross-system communication. Standards are good, but they also have disadvantages. Standards can stifle creativity and innovation. One standard is never enough to meet all needs, and an industry standard can be far from ideal because it may be the offspring of compromises among many parties. The standards may be difficult to change because so many vendors have a vested interest in it. So fixing deficiency may take considerable effort, since vendors typically extend standards with proprietary picture. Application portability isn't complete. You may need to change SQL standard statement when migrating from one vendor to another. For example, switching from Oracle to Microsoft SSL server, so vice versa. SQL environment. Catalog is a set of schema that constitute the description of a database. Schema, the structure that contains descriptions of objects created by a user. Base table, view, constraint. Data definition language, commands that define a database, including creating, altering, and dropping tables, and establishing constraints. Data manipulation language, commands that maintain and query a database. Data control language, commands that control a database, including administering privileges and committing data. Figure 5-1, SQL environment as described by the SQL 2006 standard. A database instance, also called the database server, is a set of memory, structure, and software process that manages the access to a set of database files. Each instance maintains one or more databases organized into catalog consisting of schema. Here we see an instance of a database management system along with two databases. The production database contains its own data indexed by the catalog. It is the actual database being used for business operation. The development database is used for making application changes and testing. Usually, organizations have two separate databases, one for production and one for development. Also, there are SQL data type. Actually, this is a very important one. Each database management system has a defined list of data type that it can handle. All contain numeric, string, and data type variables. Some also contain graphic data type, spatial data type, or image data type, which greatly increase the flexibility of data manipulation. Table 5- In Table 5-2, there are sample American National Standard Institution SQL data type. String, character n or bearing character n. String character store string value containing any characters in a character set is defined to be a fixed length. For example, character 2, character bearing n or character bearing n, bearing character n. Store string values containing any characters in a character set using space only for the actual length of the string. In Oracle, var character 2, for example, var character 2 theory. Binary large object, blob, store binary string values in hexadecimal format. Blob is defined to be variable length. Oracle also has club and club as well as B file for strong unstructured data outside the database. Number, numeric, precision, scale, decimal, integer, numeric or decimal. Store exact number with a defined precision and scale. In Oracle, number, precision, scale, for example, number 12, 2. Integer, store exact number with a predefined precision and scale of 0. Temporal, timestamp with local time zone. Stores a moment an event occurs using a definable fraction of a second precision. Value adjusted to the user session time zone, available fully in Database 2 and Oracle. Boolean, true or false value. Store true value, true, false, or unknown. Figure 5-4. Database definition language, database manipulation language, database command control language, and the database development process. SQL is composed of the three sub-languages: database, data definition language, data manipulation language, data control language. DDL is data definition language. This is used to actually create the metadata of the database, including all table, attribute, and their data type, indexes, primary and foreign keys, etc. The data definition language implement the local design into actual physical databases. This is the language that database designer will use to create the database. Database manipulation language. This includes all query, update, insert, and delete statement. This is the language that allows users and applications to interact with and manipulate the data in the database. Database control language is used by database administrator to specify who can access the data, the type of data, and operation. These users are authorized to manipulate. SQL database definition. Data definition language. Major create statement, create schema, defines a portion of the database owned by a particular user. Create table defines a new table and its column. Create view defines a logical table from one or more tables or view. Auto create statement, character set, collation, translation, assertion, domain. Steps 8. Table creation. First, identify data types for attributes. Second, identify columns that can and cannot be null. Third, identify columns that must be unique. Candidate key. Fourth, identify primary key, foreign key mate. Fifth, determine default value. Sixth, identify constraint on column domain specifications. Seventh, create the table and associated index. Figure 5-5, general syntax for create table statement used in data definition language. This figure shows the overall structure of create table statement. It shows that table will have name and some number of column definition and table constraint. In the following slide, we see several examples related to the Find Value Furniture database. This is the entity relationship diagram from Chapter 1. Each of these entities, including the associative entity, is implemented as a table in the databases. Figure 5-6 SQL database definition commands for Find Value Furniture Company. Here we see the SQL data definition language command for creating 4 tables, one each for customer, order, product, and order item. Note that for each of these, there is some number of column definitions and some number of constraints. Steps 2 follows when preparing to create a table. Identify the appropriate data type including length, precision, and scale. If required for each attribute. And then identify the columns that should not accept null value. Column controls that indicate column cannot be null are established when a table is created and are enforced for every update of the table when data are entered. And then identify the columns that need to be unique. When a column control of unique is established for column, the data in that column must have a different value for each row of data within that table. No duplicate value. Where a column or set of column is designated as unique, that column or set of column is a candidate key as discussed in previous chapter. Although each table may have multiple candidate key, only one candidate key may be designated as a primary key. When a column is specified as the primary key, that column is also assumed to be non-null, even if non-null is not explicitly stated. Unique and primary key are both column constraints. Note that a table with a composite primary key or the line table is defined in figure 5-6. The order line primary key constraint include both order ID and product ID in the primary key constraint. Third, creating a composite key. Additional attribute may be included within the parentheses as needed to create the composite key. And then identify all primary key, foreign key connections as presented in previous chapter. Foreign keys can be established immediately as a table is created or later by altering the table. The parent table in such a parent-child relationship should be created first so that the child table will reference an existing parent table when it is created. The column constraint references can be used to enforce referential integrity. Example, the order foreign key constraint on the order table. And then determine values to be inserted in any columns for which a default value is desired. Default can be used to define a value that is automatically inserted when no value is identified during data entry in figure 5-6. The commands that created the order table has defined a default value of sysdate, Oracle's name for the current date, for the order date attribute. And then identify any columns for which domain specification may be stated that are more constrained than those established by data type. Using check as a column constraint, it may be possible to establish validation rules for values to be inserted into the database. In figure 5-6, creation of the product table include a check constraint which lists the possible value for product finish search even though an entry of white maple would meet the character2 data type constraint. It would be rejected because white maple is not in the checklist. Create table statement from figure 5-6. So we can make like this table. Defining constraint and their data type. So each column has a data type. In this case, some are numeric and some are character. You can also specify column size for numeric column. You can specify whether they will be integer, which product ID is, or a low decimal value such as product standard price. So you can see here, and here. Non-nullable specifications. Some primary keys are composite, composed of multiple attributes. For this table, we see a composite primary key. Remember that order line is an associative entity between product and order. Therefore, it has two foreign keys, one to each of this table, order ID and product ID. Data integrity control. Referential integrity. Constraint that ensure that foreign key values of a table must match primary key values of a related table in one-to-many relationship, restricting deletes of primary record, updates of primary record, insert of dependent record. Figure 5-7, ensuring data integrity through update. Relational integrity is enforced via the primary key to foreign key match. The create table statement include a clause to specify how update and delete are processed when there are dependent table. If a delete request comes for a record with dependent record in another table, the database management system could restrict the delete, which means to disallow it, or it could cascade the delete so that dependent record with matching foreign keys will also be deleted, or it could say no, which means that deleting the primary key record will result in setting all corresponding foreign keys to be set to no. This would imply an optional one cardinality in the relationship.